welcome to Studio One. It's great to have you with us on this Friday morning. We have a lot of things coming up this hour, but before we tell you about that, let's find out what's up with the weather.
What's up with the weather? 60s, even 65 by Tuesday. So,
you know, I heard a bad rumor that it could rain this weekend. Is that true?
that is a bad rumor, not in my forecast.
How about snow?
No way.
Good.
Okay, then
Neither
we're
of
happy.
those? Excellent. We can handle that. Coming up in our first half hour, a chat with Roger Thomas, head coach of the Fighting Sioux football team. He'll give us a review and a preview of the Sioux's performance. We'll also see why some couples go on national TV to tell all, and we'll show you a day in the life of CNN news anchor Sharyl Attkisson. She'll tell us about her love for TV news.
And from TV news to TV education. In our second half hour, UND's Gene Johnson will talk about interactive video. Also, a tradition in the East is headed west, the bed and breakfast. We'll talk to the owner of a Grand Forks establishment. And a Christopher Columbus movie opens today, 1492, Conquest of Paradise. We'll have some clips of that for you.
We've got all that plus weather and sports, but first, Monty Cashel is here with the news. Monty?
Thanks, Rhonda. Fire officials in Los Angeles are letting a massive oil refinery burn itself out. A section of a Texaco refinery south of downtown LA erupted in flames following an explosion felt as far as 15 miles away. More than 100 firefighters are on the scene but won't move until the intense heat subsides. At last report, at least 14 people were injured, although none seriously. Hundreds of people are evacuating within 2 miles of the area. Another oil fire is burning in the Gulf of Mexico. Emergency crews are working off the shores of Louisiana to cap an offshore oil well burning out of control and dumping crude oil into the water. The well has been burning for almost a week, and thousands of gallons of oil have already spilled into the bay. The blown-out oil well has coated nearby marshlands, posing threats to the environment. No injuries have been reported, but workers must cap the well before too much environmental damage is done. Churches are supposed to be sanctuaries, a place of worship and protection from life's troubles, but not every church is safe. The author of Lead Us Not Into Temptation, a book about sexual abuse in the Catholic Church, spoke at UND earlier this week. 7 years ago, journalist Jason Berry began an investigation concerning abusive behavior within the church. The controversy he uncovered led his research across America.
I just started following it, and I had trouble believing that it was as widespread as it turned out to be, but people kept sending me information and sources kept coming my way.
Berry's book replays the controversy as it unfolded. It profiles the families and priests that challenged a powerful church. Berry says Rome has been quiet about the whole issue. He predicts it is inevitable that Catholic priests will someday be allowed to marry. Occupational therapists in Grand Forks are giving therapy with a different twist. A new addition at the UND Medical Center Rehabilitation Hospital looks more like a city than a clinic. It's the only one of its kind in North Dakota and one of only 50 in the United States. At first glance, this cul-de-sac called Easy Street looks like something you'd find downtown. Look again. Nobody really lives down this quaint little walkway complete with shops, a bank, a hotel room, and just about everything else. Easy Street is an occupational therapist's dream.
That's what our job is to practice functional activities. And many times as OTs, we have some difficulty trying to simulate what it is that they're going to have to overcome when they go home. There's no question that we have the best of both worlds right here.
Typical simulation equipment has been replaced with an environment just like home. $300,000 worth of environment, which mostly came from donations. Patients that have lost the ability to do everyday things can relearn here.
It just gives you a better feeling about the whole thing, of getting better than before. It's refreshing.
It's taken 5 years to build Easy Street, a wait that paid off.
I love it. I really love it. It's really helping, and that's the important thing right now.
The equipment on Easy Street is the best of its kind. This semi-truck simulator I'm driving is the only one in the nation. From packing their groceries at the local store to driving away in a Big Mac truck, patients here on Easy Street learn to get back into the real world more quickly. With photographer Paul Kozar, I'm Monty Cashel for Studio One News. Contributions for Easy Street came from across North Dakota. The donations are honored on a large plaque found in the rehabilitation hospital. Graduates of North Dakota say they're satisfied with their college experience. The Office of Institutional Research sent surveys to 1991 and 92 grads. Most of the graduates are satisfied with academic achievement and course challenges. A majority feel uses for student fees, housing regulations, and student government could be improved, but most say they would attend UND again. Officials say the results will be used to determine how much UND can improve. And Wendy, it says something about UND if 95% of the grads would come back.
That's great. Thanks, Monty. Well, the weather has been beautiful all week long, and to tell us if it's going to stick around for this weekend's home football game is Brad Schumacher. Brad?
Thanks, Wendy. Well, it is going to stick around 60s even on into Tuesday. Currently, the Grand Forks area is under cloudy skies and a light drizzle. The temperature is at 42 degrees and the wind is out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour, and the relative humidity is at 63%. Nationally, you can see the cold front along the east coast. Along with this cold front, rain showers are happening. Upstate New York and Pittsburgh have already received an inch of rain, and they're expected to receive another inch later on throughout the day. The low pressure system above the Great Lakes region is swirling in winds from the north, and this weaker cold front, isolated thunderstorm activity is going to be following that, so we might get some isolated thunderstorms later on in the week. Regional temperatures this morning are 43 in Winnipeg, 33, 28, and 33 in Minot, Bismarck, and Pierre. They're all near 30 degrees. Sioux Falls, South Dakota is at 44 degrees, while 42 in Grand Forks and 47 in Fargo, 44 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and 46 in Duluth, while International Falls registers 45 degrees. The forecast for today calls for partly cloudy skies. Highs should be between 56 and 62 degrees. The winds will be coming out of the northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, the clouds are going to remain. The lows should be in the 30s, and the winds will be light and variable. This weekend calls for mostly sunny skies Saturday and Sunday, even up to 63 degrees by Sunday and even on into Tuesday. So, good football weather.
Definitely. It sounds great for football. And other sports, we've got baseball and hockey news. The hockey season opened on Tuesday. Well, the hockey season is here, and so are the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're one of two new expansion teams. The Lightning struck the Chicago Blackhawks with a 7-3 loss Wednesday night. Tampa Bay becomes the first National Hockey League expansion team since 1972 to win its first game. The black cloud for the Hawks was the Lightning's Chris Kontos. He scored 4 goals on the night, 2 of them in the first 6 minutes. To the ice, where the expansion team number 2 took center stage, the Ottawa Senators won their opener 5-3 over Montreal last night. Mule Brady gets credit for the first ever goal for the Senators in the second period. And Mario Lemieux settled on a $42 million extension before the season. But is he worth it? Well, last night he put a $1 million show on with 2 goals and 3 assists as Pittsburgh downed the Islanders with 4 goals in the third period, 7-3 the final. The American League Championship Series is all tied up at 1 apiece. The big stick for Toronto was Kelly Gruber. Oh yeah, that one's over. That was a 2-run shot. The Jays took a 2-0 lead and never looked back. They wound up winning this one 3-1. They head to Oakland for Game 3 Saturday afternoon. Atlanta exploded to a 2-game lead on Pittsburgh in the National League. Powerful pitching has been the key for the Braves' dominance thus far. Steve Avery tried for a record of shutout pitching with 6 scoreless innings in Wednesday night's game, and the Braves slaughtered the Pirates 13-5. The Braves will send Tom Glavine to the mound tonight for Game 3 in Pittsburgh. Before we move on, here are some scores from last night. The Sioux volleyball team has this weekend off, but have their home opener next Friday against Northern Colorado. Despite having 7 freshmen on the roster, the team expects to do well in the strong North Central Conference. Assistant coach MJ Engstrom said what the team lacks in experience, they make up for in physical talent and ability. The coaching staff is extremely happy to have middle blocker Tammy Wills back this year. She was gone last year, but will supply much-needed leadership to the young team this year. The Fighting Sioux football team had to get back to the basics in practice this week, working on their passing, catching, and blocking. They come off of a frustrating tie last weekend, and Saturday's game could be just as tough as they host Augustana College.
We've always had real hard games with them, and I know they're going to be coming in here flying high, and I think they're ranked in the region now, so they've got a lot of incentive to come here and play hard.
Well, they're good. You know, what a surprising team, not winning a game last year, and everybody thinking that they were going to be, you know, the dogs of the league like last year when they didn't win a game, and boy, they're anything but.
Game time tomorrow is 1 o'clock, and head coach Roger Thomas will join us a little later in the studio to talk about the team. You know, Augustana did have a tough time last year, but they're ranked nationally this year, so it could be
a really tough game, so we wish them luck.
Right. Well, stay with us. We'll have UND's head football coach, Roger Thomas, right after this.
Why do I have Community National Bank, MasterCard, and Visa credit cards? Because there's no annual fee and the low interest rate. It's a great value. There are no gimmicks, and it's so convenient.
If I have a question or a problem, I can take care of it right here at the bank, and they help me now. I don't have to make any of those long-distance telephone calls. Besides, I feel that they really care about me.
Community National Bank Grand Forks. We care about you.
Come to the Red Hot Dot Sale at Columbia Mall.
Look for Red Hot Red Dots at many of your favorite stores, on many of your favorite items. When you find a store with Red Hot Red Dots, you'll find huge savings. All you have to do is find the Red Hot Red Dots to save. Whoa!
Look for Red Hot Red Dots Friday through Monday only at Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
They're easy to find.
The Fighting Sioux football team has started their North Central Conference season with 2 wins and a tie last week against Morningside. The driving force behind their success is head coach Roger Thomas. He is now in his 7th year with the Sioux and has a chance of making UND's all-time coaches win list. Now you need 3 more wins to get on that list. Do you think about that at all as you go into the season?
Do I? I don't know. I don't know. Somebody else has mentioned that to me along the way. We don't think about that. I think you're so into what's happening in the next game. You're really the long-term things or the accumulation of wins I don't pay much attention to, honestly.
Okay. Now last year you and the Sioux, you've packed back-to-back second-place finishes in the NCC. What does it look like this year to be on the top?
Well, it's a little frustrating to be second all the time. First of all, we would love to get her done and win the whole thing, but I think we have a chance. We have a tie, which we had last Saturday, but we're still undefeated in the league, and there's only one other team that doesn't have a loss. So with 3 games into the season, we're hanging in there pretty well. And I think we have the talent that if we can play the old line up to our potential, we have a chance to contend again.
Now, speaking of that tie, you tied with Morningside last week, 24-24. Will that affect you in the standings later this season?
I think it might. It would depend. Probably what helped us was some of the other top teams had a loss last weekend, and we only had a tie, so that's to our advantage. But if it comes down to the end where they don't have any more losses or we accumulate a couple losses, then the tie would hurt us to win a championship or get into the playoffs. So it really will depend what everybody else does along with our final record, probably.
Now, in the beginning of the season, your offensive line was kind of a little shaky because 4 of your 5 starters graduated. But that doesn't seem to be a problem so far. Is it? Is it a problem for the team?
Not really. They've played very well. I know the media guys all thought that the offensive line was going to be a problem because they were replacements for several all-conference players of last year. But we felt real good about them because there's several seniors in there this year, and they were pretty good players last year. They just had to wait their turn because they had a good guy in front of them. And now that they've gotten their turn, they've protected the quarterback well. We've run the ball probably as effectively as we did last year, and so we're pleased with their performance, and there's really not been a big step backwards in the offensive line.
Now let's switch it over to the defense. 10 of the 11, or all the defense is back, but 10 of the 11 starters are seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a big void to fill. Do you think about that? Are you concerned with that now, or are you going to wait until after the season to deal with that?
Well, you really wait till after the season. Recruiting will be a key, though it's very tough for us to go out and recruit a freshman player that would step in and play for one of these graduating seniors. So hopefully we have some players behind the ones that are playing this year for next season. But when you're in season, you don't, you know, that's a long way down the road. You're trying to get those seniors of this year to stay healthy and play well and to win the games this year.
And speaking of the games, Saturday you host Augustana. Let's talk about that a little bit. They just upset Northern Colorado.
Yeah, and that was pretty surprising. Northern Colorado was, in many people's mind, the preseason pick. North Dakota State has been the perennial pick, and many people thought it was Northern Colorado's turn. And here they are. They've got a couple losses in the season, and they're just not playing real good football. We exchanged tapes with the other teams, so we've got the tape of the Augustana Northern Colorado game, and Northern Colorado isn't playing very well. But that's to Augie's credit. They did play well. They're 4-1, and for a team that was picked to finish at the bottom of the league, to be 4-1 and ranked 18th in the country, we're going to have our hands full. They're just playing good football.
Give us a little preview. What are you looking for Saturday against Augustana?
Well, probably the guy that will jump out at you is Augustana's quarterback, a guy named Heath Rylance, who drove us crazy last year because he's very mobile and he throws well, and he's just probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the league. And he just makes plays something out of nothing all the time, because you feel like you got him trapped and he'll scramble away and throw a pass or whatever. And they've got a couple good receivers, a little guy named Legal who can run. He's a dash champion out of South Dakota, so he's quick. And their defense, they have a bunch of underclassmen. We have a bunch of seniors and they have a bunch of sophomores on defense. But they're playing hard and they're running around and tackling people. So there's not a heck of a lot of obvious weaknesses in them, so we're going to have to just play a good football game to beat them.
I'm going to kind of switch gears here. You've been with the program now for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of changes have you seen in those 7 years?
Well, we've gotten a lot better. I mean, I'm not bragging, but we have. When we first got here, it was awful. We just didn't have the talent on the team that we have now. We had lesser numbers of guys. Our depth was not where it is now. We just, it was a struggle in a lot of areas. The programs go in kind of cycles, and many times when you hire a new coach, it's time for some changes, and it's time to go out and recruit some new faces and just try on a different tone to the program. And UND's been an easy place to recruit to, honestly, because the school is so strong around the state and around the region that when you go out and you're trying to sell the football program to UND, to a prospective student athlete, it's easy to sell them on the academics, because there's so many kids that have gone here and have come back. Just like the feature you just had on the happiness of the graduates, UND has that image in the area, and that really helps us, because you're obviously selling education, and if your school is not respected that way, football recruiting becomes twice as hard.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming on this morning. We want to wish
Thank you,
you and the Sioux luck this weekend.
Thanks. Good to be here.
It's 18 minutes after the hour. Coming up next, Behind the Scene with CNN's Sharyl Attkisson. Thanks for calling. Good luck.
Advertisers are looking for just one thing from their advertising dollars: results. And that's what local cable TV advertising delivers. Results for local area businesses like ID Motor Company and Scott's Piano and Sound. Cablecom delivers results for these area clients. Let us deliver results for your business. Contact Cablecom for more information on local cable TV advertising at rates similar to radio.
Here's one time it doesn't matter who your neighbor is. Here's the other. Life's too short. Stop the hate.
Vince, that new dummy cam is great.
Yeah, it'll sure give people a whole new outlook on what it's like when you don't wear a safety belt.
I think they'll get the picture.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
If you've ever watched CNN, you've seen Sharyl Attkisson. She's their sharp, professional, and flawless co-anchor for the program Newsday. We had a chance to talk with her over the summer, and she told us that she got to the top by paying the dues.
You get to do things when you're a reporter or an anchor, you would never get to do. For example, most people would run or stay inside from a hurricane, but I've always had the urge to be out in the middle of a horrible storm like you used to go stand out in the rain when you were a kid. No one does that when they're an adult. But we'd do that as reporters. We would drive out over a bridge that may not be there when we went back to look for it to get back on the mainland. And I don't think we took unnecessary risks, but you get to do things and see things that no one else will get to see. These are wire service reports that came, urgents that came down, that give me enough to go off of if I have to talk about it a little bit. I have some information. This is on the chicken plant explosion that just happened, and this is some background on President Bush and the political angle, because that's what my interview will be on at 4 or 5 today. At least 20 people were hurt, one seriously, in an explosion today at a chicken processing plant in Texas. It happened at the Pilgrim's Pride food plant in Mount Pleasant, Texas, about 110 miles northeast of Dallas. I like to read all my scripts ahead of time before I go on the air, which is one of the things that shocked me here. You can't do that. The scripts are not written when you go on the air. A few of them may be in, but the vast majority of the scripts for your show are written while you're out there on the set, and they're printed and brought out to you as you're anchoring. So we don't have the luxury here of being able to see that copy very far ahead of time. Sometimes, several times a day at least, it's read cold on the teleprompter when we haven't seen it before.
Oh, this is Newsday. I'm Lou Waters.
I'm Sharyl Attkisson. President Bush is reported to be resting comfortably this hour, bouncing back from an attack of intestinal flu. White House officials say he should return to action Thursday, working to break down Japan's trade barriers. Mr. Bush, at any moment, at any time of day, our Senior Vice President Bob Fernand could run down to the control room, get in the anchor's ear, and say, ad lib about Bush's illness. We've got a shot of him heading home on the plane from Tokyo. We will have to be able to discuss, talk, do spot interviews for anywhere from 30 seconds to 10 minutes, fill time. And if you don't have a comprehension of the story and what's happening, I just can't imagine not having that. It'd be silly. You'd be a fool on the air in front of perhaps millions of people. And back in the U.S., President Bush's son, George Jr., expressed concern about his dad. He said he was a little scared when he first heard the news, but he said after hearing the full story, he is confident his father will be just fine. The only eyes and ears, you're the only one on the set, but there's a bunch of qualified people in the newsroom who are listening as well. And all the other things that you may be hearing in your ear to do, technical things, if you miss something or if someone has a good idea of something that they knew about, or we've heard CBS has reported such and such, they may get in your ear and say, CBS says this is happening, ask him. And that's a big help. There's not an anchor that doesn't appreciate that. In general, you're on your own to ask the questions that need to be asked.
They're saying here at the White House, Sharyl, that everything is normal.
Carl, a hypothetical, had the illness been something much more serious, how might that have trickled down differently to the public? Would they not have still tried to reassure the public that Mr. Bush was fine? For 10 years, I did sweat and work hard and have horrible hours and work overnights and get paid close to nothing. But I liked it and I was dedicated to it and I even enjoyed that. And I think that it aggravates me a little bit when people watch CNN and I've had people ask, why do you come in so early in the morning if you don't go on till 2? And they think the anchors go out and sit down and read their copy, and it's so much more than that. I feel the correspondents have to be experts in their area. The anchors have to have a working knowledge of all areas. At any given time, you could be called upon to do practically anything. As an anchor here, information that we won't even be able to air for various reasons because it's off the record or whatnot, we still get to find out things about the world that's happening that puts so many things in perspective and makes you understand how important international politics is to what happens here in the United States. And you're on the cutting edge. You're the first one to hear about practically anything that happens in the world. It's fascinating.
Well, it may have been a tough road, but Sharyl Attkisson is definitely at the top. When we return, a look at the game show that's got married couples squabbling.
was a plastic surgeon, and he said he had 2 kids. I thought, boy, that would make the daddy's got your nose game a little scarier, wouldn't it? Hi, I'm Paul Poundstone. I'll be at Chester Fritz Auditorium on Saturday, October 24th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available at all Ticketmaster outlets or at the box office. How many people here know what you want to do for a living? Isn't that remarkable? That's why adults are always asking little kids what they want to be when they grow up. Because they're looking for ideas.
He protects all living things in the forest. But he can't do it alone. Please don't play with matches. Put out your campfires. And never, ever forget the words of Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
If you thought the Newlywed Game dug into the private lives of married couples, wait until you see That's Amore. Created in Italy, this half-hour program has couples going head-to-head with their differences. Take a look.
He's box office heartthrob Luca Barbeschi, Italy's #1 actor for 3 straight years. Luca acts, directs, writes, and is a musician. But there's another side to him we haven't told you about. Luca also hosts Italy's most popular and outrageous game show, and he's about to bring it here.
E 5 volte telefona alla sorella. Oggi muore? Oggi muore? Ma lo sai che muore? È già morto 5 volte! Finissila!
You act your lines. So that's why the show becomes very interesting, very dramatic, very funny, very controversial, and becomes a great show because you wrote the script and you are the star of it.
The American version of the show is called That's Amore. The show features real married couples who humorously air their dirty laundry before a studio audience.
As soon as she walks in the house, it's like a hurricane hit.
Michael loves himself.
She clips her toenails in the middle of the living room.
Everyone does that.
What is that? You take the money?
No, I do manage the money because when Tony has money, Tony has this thing about Roger Rabbit. Tony bought Roger Rabbit slippers. He bought Roger Rabbit T-shirt. Roger Rabbit shower curtain. He has six Roger Rabbit watches. Things about Roger Rabbit I never even knew were invented. Tony has everything about Roger Rabbit. And so
I'm preparing for our children.
No,
okay?
these are for Tony.
I'm preparing for our children because I want our children to have the finest things and toys that I didn't have.
These are for Tony.
Is there something wrong with that?
People that come on the show, they will never get out of hand, and they're going to be just, interested in having a great show. And I'm going to be there in the middle just to make sure that everything is going to be right and especially very funny.
Even though Lucas sometimes has to tiptoe through the dicier moments, he has the sensitivity and warmth to get couples to open up their gripes as well as the humorous moments from their marriages.
After 750 episodes, no one in my show ever got divorced. Actually, I think few people after my show felt even better because, just having the opportunity to discuss, to say things, and laugh about it. When you have a good laugh, you have a good life, and you have a good show, and that's Amore.
I've seen that show, and it gets really nasty.
It looks pretty wild.
It is.
Yeah. Well, you can catch it on Channel 4 in Grand Forks at 4 p.m. weekdays. We're headed into our second half hour where we'll show you a preview of the new Christopher Columbus movie.
And we'll also show you a unique alternative to motel lodging. And we'll learn more about interactive videos. So stay with us. Studio One continues.
There are countries where bread is scarce. But this is America. Countries where electricity is rare. But this is America. Countries where infant mortality is a problem. But this is America. Here, it's a crisis. Every 13 minutes, another infant dies. But we can help prevent many of those deaths with prenatal care from programs like Healthy Start. Find out what you can do. Why? Because this is America.
If you took away a star for every 1 million people who didn't vote, and a stripe for every 5 million non-voters, and a patch of blue for the 10 million people who didn't care, exactly what kind of flag are we waving?
Welcome back for more Studio One. The weekend is here, and so is the warm weather. But is it going to stick around?
It's going to stick around until Tuesday, so I think we're going to enjoy it.
So we'll make it through the football game.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That'll lead us into the weekend. Well, later in this half hour, Meredith Byron will give us a tour of her old Victorian-style home, and she'll tell us why she's opened her doors to the public.
And computers and television have opened up a whole new way of learning. Jean Johnson from Continuing Education will be here to explain how.
And in honor of Columbus Day, Paramount Pictures introduces 1492 Conquest of Paradise. We'll have clips from that movie a little bit later. But first, Monty's here with overnight headlines and other news. Monty?
Thanks, Rhonda. President Bush will be in Ohio today. Yesterday, he told a crowd in Houston that this year's campaign is the ugliest he's ever seen. But he continued to attack presidential candidate Bill Clinton. He accuses Clinton of indecisiveness. He questions Clinton about a trip to Moscow in 1969 and criticizes Clinton for protesting the Vietnam War while in England and Norway. Bill Clinton is striking out against President Bush's remarks, saying he's desperate and is sinking to a new low. The Arkansas governor arrived in Kansas City yesterday. He is there preparing for Sunday's presidential debate. Yesterday, over 550 economists, including 9 Nobel Prize winners, endorsed Clinton's plans for the U.S. economy. After only one showing, Ross Perot's half-hour campaign ad is already in reruns. Aides to the independent presidential candidate says the TV ad that ran Tuesday night will air again tonight on ABC. The ad that was supposed to add Perot's discussion on economic solutions will now be seen after Sunday's presidential debate. Raking leaves and swimming don't usually go hand in hand. The University of North Dakota swimming and diving teams are doing yard work to help them train. Tom Gerhardt explains.
Before UND swimmers and divers can do this, they must do this. The men's and women's teams are working to earn money for their annual training trip to Florida. This means doing fall chores most people don't like.
And we have also not only raked, but we've washed windows, and we've had some of our guys go and help some people move things around their house, and just whatever kind of housework that they need done, we're trying to help them out.
The team also raises money by involving themselves in other campus activities. Their goal is to raise $2,500. Right now, they have $700. And with the cost of the trip rising, they felt it was time to put themselves to work out of the pool. The training trip lasts for 2 weeks beginning December 27th in Sarasota, Florida. But the sunny, warm weather won't allow for many days at the beach. Most of the time is spent in the pool, working hard.
That's where he really cranks on us a lot. We're dead. We put in about 6 hours a day in the pool, plus weights. And so we train from like 6 in the morning till 8 in the morning, and then go again at about 4 in the afternoon.
With 11 consecutive North Central Conference titles to the credit of the women and 7 for the men, the team is used to hard work and dedication. Their attitude has given them an excellent reputation in Grand Forks, something that is shown in the amount of community support.
We've gotten lots of people who have just called and said, we support you 100%, and we don't have anything for you to do, but here's money for a donation.
Another season awaits for the swimmers and divers who can't wait to defend their reputation. For now, they're busy raking leaves so they can rake up the competition at the end of the season. With photographer Paul Kozar, Tom Gerhardt, Studio One News.
If you're interested in hiring the swimming team or wish to donate money for their trip, you can call Coach Mike Stromberg at the UND Athletic Department. This year, University of North Dakota students can have it their way. Over the summer, UND replaced the Varsity Inn cafeteria with Burger King. University officials felt that a fast food restaurant in the student union would benefit everyone.
It's a win-win situation. You have Burger King, who's getting the student that is favorable to buy their product. Dining Services is appreciative of the fact that they're offering more satisfaction to meet the student needs, and that the university gains from it because they will be obviously having some profits that will be used for the university to better their programs.
Burger King is the first fast food chain on a North Dakota campus. The restaurant is open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and also offers food not found in other Burger Kings. Food is easy to find on the UND campus, but that isn't the case everywhere. CROP, or CROP, is a hunger and disaster relief program sponsored by Church World Service. This weekend, the organization is holding Crop Walk. Organizers are hoping to raise money and create an awareness of world hunger. Participants collect pledges and walk 10 kilometers. Most of the money goes directly to hunger relief projects, but some of the proceeds will help local food pantries. There will be random drawings for gift certificates and a traveling trophy for the church or organization with the most donations. The walk starts Saturday morning at University Park in Grand Forks. And it's Hunger Relief Week, I think, next week.
Do you know of any events that are happening in the area for that?
I heard that there's going to be tents pitched up and there's going to be fasting by the people in the tents.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Monty. Paramount Pictures' 1492 Conquest of Paradise is a story about one of the most celebrated, influential, and mysterious men in history. Christopher Columbus was driven by a sense of ambition and destiny to cross the sea of darkness and discover new land. But what he uncovered brought him both triumph and disaster.
I would say he was a very brave man. Where bravery crosses over to being marginally crazy is a question I could never answer. But when he set out, as far as others were concerned, it was a one-way journey.
Well, suppose you cross this ocean then, and suppose you reach Asia. What would Spain do there?
Trade, Your Excellency. According to Marco Polo, the Kingdom of China is one of the richest of the world. Even the meanest buildings are roofed with gold.
Is that all that interests you? Gold? So you consider yourself the chosen one?
Asia can be found to the west, and I will prove it.
No, I think it was absolutely normal man, you know, completely full of curiosity. He was very curious, and then discovered America.
Not even be listening to you since my counsel has said no. Santangel tells me you are a man of honor and sincerity. Sanchez, you are not completely mad.
No more than the woman who said she would take Grenada from the Moors.
They believe the ocean is uncrossable, Senor Columbus.
What did they say about Grenada before today? I know what I see. I see someone who doesn't accept the world as it is, who's not afraid. I see a woman who thinks, what if?
A woman?
Forgive me. But you're the only queen I know.
Then that makes us equal. You are the only navigator that I know. I think she's charmed by him. And I think he also gets to do what perhaps she might like to do if she were a man. She had a great deal of responsibility, and in many ways, I think she sees him as so free. She's very envious of that. She's very disciplined.
Within all of us, in terms of a story, Columbus represents the dreamer, a man who will not stop because he has a dream. At the same time, a man who has those kinds of passions and ideals has, in some respect, has to be restrained.
That looks really good. I want to see that.
Well, now's your chance to see it. It opens today.
Good. Meredith, Byron will be up next. She's going to explain how her home has become a business, so don't go away.
Why do I have Community National Bank, MasterCard, and Visa credit cards? Because there's no annual fee and the low interest rate. It's a great value. There are no gimmicks, and it's so convenient.
If I have a question or a problem, I can take care of it right here at the bank, and they help me now. I don't have to make any of those long-distance telephone calls. Besides, I feel that they really care about me.
Community National Bank, Grand Forks. We care about you.
Come to the Red Hot Dot sale at Columbia Mall.
Look for Red Hot Red Dots at many of your favorite stores, many of your favorite items. When you find a store with Red Hot Red Dots, you'll find huge savings. All you have to do is find the Red Hot Red Dots to save. Whoa!
Look for Red Hot Red Dots Friday through Monday only at Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
They're easy to find.
Remember how good it felt the first time you gave 5? Well, now there's another way to give 5. Set a goal to give more. 5 hours a week and 5% of your income to the causes you care about. It'll make you feel like a winner every day of your life. So give more. Give 5. Call 1-800-55-GIVE-5.
An old home has been known to have a lot of character and charm. Meredith Byron has taken her 1897 three-story Victorian home and transformed it to a bed and breakfast. It's a concept that is popular in the eastern part of the United States and is slowly working its way westward. Thanks for joining us, Meredith. It's good to have you here this morning. The first question I want to ask you is, why has it taken so long for the bed and breakfast to become popular in the western part of the United States?
Well, traditionally, I think everybody has enjoyed just going to the motels, and now I think people have traveled more across into Europe and in the eastern part of the states, and they now want to try that venture out here in the western part of the country.
Is it becoming popular?
Yes.
Is it?
I think in North Dakota we have several crop up every year, and so I think it is becoming more popular and more demand for it all the time.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, you spent 10 years building up your house.
Remodeling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you initially intend for it to become a bed and breakfast?
No. We did it basically because we love old homes. And then after working that hard on it, my husband and I wanted to share it with people. And this is one avenue I could share it and still have a little income on the side.
Now, we just showed shots of your home to the viewers. Explain the atmosphere.
Well, it's Victorian. It was built in 1897, my home, and it's Victorian. And the living room and dining room are two different eras of that time. The dining room is a Mission Oak style of the Craftsman era, and the living room is Victorian. And so you can see two distinct styles that prevailed in that time period and in my home.
Did you initially want to go with that style when you rebuilt the house, or did you?
It was already there. All we did was basically redecorate it and do some electrical and plumbing work. But basically everything is original. The light fixtures are original. The woodwork is original. We basically just added our own little touches around.
Now, when guests come to your home, do they have roam of the whole house, or do they stay in certain areas, and do you stay in certain areas? Or?
They have the upstairs, except the door is shut, to my husband's study. They're not allowed in there. And also my kitchen is off grounds. Otherwise, they have free will to the other rooms.
Okay, and what is the cost to stay?
Well, I have a room with a half bath or water closet, and it's basically a closet, and that's what the old-fashioned word was water closet, and that is $75 a night, and that includes 8% sales tax and breakfast. And then I have two other rooms that are $65 a night, and I'm quoting it for double occupancy.
Okay. Now, you said that includes breakfast. Do you make your own breakfast
Yeah.
for them?
Mm-hmm. And that's another love I have is cooking, and so I incorporated all my loves into one business, and I love it.
Well, good for you. Now, when clients come, other bed and breakfasts said that they have friendships with their clientele. Do you see the same people coming back, and do you have friendships with the clientele?
Well, I haven't had them come back, although they've called and I've been booked and whatever, so they've had to use other alternatives. But I have gotten Christmas cards. They stop by when they're in town, and we have coffee. I've gotten little notes from them. So yes, so you do build. When they leave, I feel they're my friend. And I have never had a guest that I haven't wanted to return.
Well, good for you. What's the difference between a bed and breakfast and a motel?
Uniqueness. Every bed and breakfast is unique. You can go to mine and then go across to another one in town, and it'll be totally different because the hostess is always different.
Speaking of the hostess, what's it like for you to own a bed and breakfast?
It's just really intriguing, and I love every minute of it. I love meeting the people, and everyone that walks through the door is different, and so it's real. I don't know the word for it, but it's real intriguing. I just love meeting people. And then sharing my talents, which is decorating and showing off the house, and meeting these people, because everyone is different. And so I've had farmers from Maine come, and I've had a pianist from Chicago. So I've had a wide range of people.
What kind of regulations do you have to follow? Do you have specific regulations for bed
Well,
and breakfast?
there's no smoking, no children under 15, no pets.
Now, you mentioned no children under 15. Why? Are you the only one that has that?
Yes, and that's another thing about bed and breakfast is that they're all different. And the reason I have that is because I feel you're getting away from normal type of the hectic life of 1990s and going back to the 1980s. And it's mainly for couples to get away and to just retreat. And children, my house doesn't lend to children. And so I've just cut it off there. And they wouldn't enjoy my breakfasts. And they wouldn't enjoy my home because it just isn't for children.
Now, where do you go for a vacation?
Where do I go? We go down south and we visit old homes. And we also, touring old homes is basically what we like to do.
Well, good. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Meredith.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with our bed and breakfast.
Thanks.
Wendy and Jean Johnson will talk about a different way of learning when we return.
Thousands of groups have performed country music, but only one group is country music.
Lucky moons stay out
The Oak Ridge Boys. Friday night, October 16th at the Chester Fritz Auditorium. The legendary Oak Ridge Boys are back.
No matter how high I get.
Get tickets now at the Chester Fritz Auditorium box office and all Ticketmaster outlets or charge by phone. The Oak Ridge Boys. Don't miss it.
Brothers and fellow mountain goats, this year's recipient of the treasured Black Horn Award, Richard Lynch. Come on up here, Dick.
What are you doing this weekend that's so important you can't take a little time to test your home for radon? After all, it is the second leading cause of lung cancer, and a radon test kit is inexpensive. You could pick one up on your way to the lodge.
Technology has paved the road to education opportunities with the use of the Interactive Video Network. It uses the television to bring students and instructors in different areas into one classroom. Jean Johnson joins us today, and she's the Distance Education Coordinator at the University of North Dakota. Thank you for joining us today. I guess, could you tell me a little bit more about the video network?
Well, first of all, it's called the North Dakota Interactive Video Network. We have actually nicknamed it IVAN. It's a two-way interactive video network. For instance, if an instructor here at UND were teaching a class over the network, the students in, let's just say, Williston, Dickinson, and Bismarck could actually see the instructor and hear them. And the instructor here could also see and hear all of those students out there. What's nice about it is that the system is also voice activated. The system actually gives you, you have two monitors in front of the instructor and two monitors in front of the students in the distant sites. One of the monitors you will always see your site, the other monitor you'll see the distant site. With the voice activation, you will always see the last site that spoke. So there is true interaction with all of the sites, and that's what's quite unique about the system.
So if they want to ask a question, they can also just raise their hand and ask it just like they're in the classroom?
Actually, they can't raise their hand. They actually have to start speaking. Okay. It takes about a second and a half for the system to switch. So what we suggest to the students and to the instructor is, well, actually mainly to the students out in the distant sites, we ask them to say their name and their location and then begin their question or their response, because it takes that second and a half to switch their location. And by that time then, the system has switched.
What type of students do you find are most using this service?
It is mainly older than average students. However, there are some undergraduate courses that are being offered out there as well. The students' comments on their evaluations are extremely positive. They are very, very pleased with the system and feel that it's very interactive. In fact, we feel, as a system, we really feel that the instruction is probably better than even an on-campus class, because the instructors actually have to prepare so much more for these courses. They have to plan for interaction, they plan their graphics, they plan a lot of things. They also have to have things prepared several weeks in advance, because we have to get materials out to the students.
Right. What's the average size of a class of this type?
Well, it can be anywhere from 2 to 25 students. Most of the classrooms are will hold between 18 and 25 students. We do have some classes that actually are offered to maybe only 2 students, but it's mainly because they have to have the course, because maybe it is part of a program that they're already involved in.
What about the cost to the student? I know that's always a concern. Does it cost a lot more for the student to do this type of program?
Well, it really doesn't. In fact, in most of the cases, when it is taught as part of load on a campus, there is no extra charge to a student. The only time that there is if it's through continuing education. We do have a small delivery charge that is charged to the students out there, and it really probably amounts to about $10 more per credit, which is very, very minimal.
Mm-hmm. What kind of goals do you have for this program?
Well, the system itself, there's so many ways that it can go. It's definitely going to grow. We right now are expecting the state hospital in Jamestown to be online with us. I'm thinking I believe it's January, February of 1993. Could be a little bit later than that. We also are adding an additional room at Minot State, because there was only one room there before. We are also connecting up to the West River Missouri Valley Consortium of Schools in the Bismarck area. And that is actually 12 different schools that are connected by a different system, and we now are connecting up with them. And I just saw the system connected yesterday, and I think it's going to work very, very well.
That's great. It sounds like this system is becoming more and more popular, and I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back for the close right after this.
Advertisers are looking for just one thing from their advertising dollars: results. And that's what local cable TV advertising delivers. Results for local area businesses like ID Motor Company and Scott's Piano and Sound. Cablecom delivers results for these area clients. Let us deliver results for your business. Contact Cablecom for more information on local cable TV advertising at rates similar to radio.
Can you imagine what a difference it would make if the young people of this country had the same enthusiasm for the voting booth?
Well, Brad, why don't you recap the weather for us?
Well, it's sunshine this weekend and into the 60s. That'll last through Tuesday, too.
That's good weather for you to go skydiving. That's a hobby of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've gone twice. I'm excited to go again. This weekend I can't go, though, because I have to work.
Darn work always is in the way, isn't it? Have you ever skydived?
No.
How about you?
No, I haven't planned on it. No.
We all should go sometime.
No way. No way. Well, for everyone here at Studio One, have a great weekend. We leave you with clips from 1492 Conquest of Paradise. See you again next week.
Ooh,